quiet.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
The streaming.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty easy. Like I know I'm a daywalker, right here, you know.
Yeah.
You have a little gingivitis, you're fucking assholes. You don't like Kyle Brocklowski, I'll wear the hat.
It's getting longer and longer every day because snowbirds are coming in.
Yeah, so you have those
Traffic is
functionalities.
ridiculous for
So,
Saturday.
the packages, you can do that. You can build something to run that. So,
Yeah, I was thinking a little bit about it, but nothing
and you can like have that task unify your HTML. You can have, for example, two files build using production.
Get on
You only using the
Listen, Heather attacks
every time you save
that.
that file and the HTML, however, it's going to unify it. Okay, then you're going to use production. Yeah, I'm not using that here because it's not big. But yeah, you can use that every time you save. It's going to grab from here and here it's going to save like that. Yes. So it's but there's another way around.
Sign yourself as project manager and give them all the tasks.
There you go. There's another way. That was irritating.
You can do it. And then give them solid expectations on the timeline and excellence.
So I didn't very suggestion.
You never have to worry about it again.
I'm gonna start doing
I can write a really long contract.
You can only show one sentence.
Yeah, just make it really long, and then at the very end, but I need your reply, I agree.
You know what I tell people
So when you here, it's got my part. I just copy all of that. It's gonna be shown.
at the end they won't have coffee.
But this actually gonna be this one because we're gonna use the loop. We're gonna use the variables and we're gonna use the code, and the loop is gonna show.
I was good.
So it's not like the just a general.
Not a lot, but if I have to do the
it's
sign,
gonna take the sign.
I
And the part I'm gonna check out.
if you don't understand I'm sorry.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. So today is the beginning of week 16. Week 16 and 17 are dedicated to projects. So we'll discuss a lot more about the project today. I'm going to go through the slides and going to give you the explanation what needs to be done. I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible so that I give you back more time, because the more time I want you guys to dedicate as a team and come up with a project, make sure everything is approved, you have submitted. So by the end of the day, the expectation is from my class, there are 5 teams. All 5 teams should submit a proposal what they're going to do for the next 2.5 weeks. All right. And same with the Monday, Wednesday class. I'm not sure. Do you guys have 5 teams or is it less, more? 5? Okay. All right. So 10 proposals today. We'll start and see what are the requirements for this project. All right. There's a good motivational video. We'll watch it for like maybe 3-4 minutes. This is from Ira Glass. He's a NPR radio host. That's interesting. I was watching it last night. I was thinking, I don't know if I want to include this or not, but it is kind of interesting.
Tells people how to do emails. And I really wish somebody had told us.
Let me see if I can. Oh, this is good.
Is that if you're watching this video, somebody wants to make videos, right? And all of us who do creative work, like, we get into it, and we get into it because we have good taste. Do you know what I mean? Like, you want to make TV because you love TV. You know what I mean? Because there's stuff that you just tell people who are beginners.
Let me start this again. Can you guys hear it fine?
Yep.
Okay.
And I really wish somebody had told this to me, is that if you're watching this video, somebody wants to make videos, right? And all of us who do creative work, like, we get into it, and we get into it because we have good taste. Do you know what I mean? Like, you want to make TV because you love TV. You know what I mean? Because there's stuff that you just like love. Okay? So you've got really good taste. And you get into this thing that I don't even know how to describe, but it's like there's a gap. That for the first couple of years that you're making stuff, what you're making isn't so good. Okay? It's not that great. It's really not that great. It's trying to be good. It has some vision to be good, but it's not quite that good. But your taste, the thing that got you into the game, your taste is still killer. And your taste is good enough that you can tell that what you're making is kind of a disappointment to you. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell that it's still sort of crappy. A lot of people never get past that phase. A lot of people at that point, they quit. And the thing I would just like say to you with all my heart is that most everybody I know who does interesting creative work, they went through a phase of years where they had really good taste. They could tell what they were making wasn't as good as they wanted it to be. They knew it felt short. Some of us could admit that to ourselves, and some of us are a little less able to admit that to ourselves. But we knew, like, it didn't have this special thing that we wanted to have. And the thing I would say to you is everybody goes through that. And for you to go through it, if you're going through it right now, if you're just getting out of that phase, if you're just starting off and you're entering into that phase, you gotta know that's totally normal. The most important possible thing you can do is do a lot of work. Do a huge volume of work. Put yourself on the deadline so that every week or every month you know you can finish one story. You know what I mean? Whatever it's going to be, that you create the deadline. It's best if you have somebody who's waiting for work for you, somebody who's expecting it from you, even if it's not somebody who pays you, but that you're in a situation where you have to turn out the work. Because it's only by actually going through a volume of work that you're actually going to catch up and close that gap. And the work you're making will be as good as your ambitions. In my case, I do a national radio show, right? I make my living doing something I've been doing this for a long time. And when the Peabody Award, like, when all sorts of prizes, like 1.7 million people listen to our show, and they listen almost to the entire show. Like, people love our show, right? Like, the show that I make with my coworkers. And so I'm in a place, like, I'm done, right? I've mastered this thing. I gotta tell you, like I took longer to figure out how to do this than anybody I've ever met. I'm gonna play you a quick tape from my 8th year. Like, I started in public radio when I was 19 at NPR's network headquarters in Washington. It was a big news organization. I had a really, like, PT set of jobs. And, like, I was always a good tape cutter, but I was a horrible reporter. I was horrible at anything that you're setting to do with these Google pods. And so this is a tape from year 8.
It's not such a long way from the local grocery store to the international debate over whether sorghum and meat production are causing corn to decline in Latin America.
All right, that's a debate. We were talking about that at dinner.
There's a general air of prosperity here, partly thanks to Mexican imports of U.S. grains, which help boost our farm economy. Mexico is now one of our biggest grain customers, buying $500 million to $1 billion worth every year, including corn to feed its people and sorghum to feed its livestock.
Like, what am I talking about? Like, I don't even understand. Like, I wrote this. I don't even understand what it is. And okay, also, like every part of this is ill-conceived, okay? Like the writing is horrible. You can't even follow what I'm talking about. And then the performance, like, okay, just a little tip if you're calling for broadcast. You don't underline every third word for emphasis because it sounds really unnatural. What you want to do is you want to talk the way people want to talk.
This helps cut our own trade deficit and benefits everyone in the U.S. economy. But in Mexico, this policy has led to fewer tortillas for the poor and unappetizing tortillas for everyone else.
Again, like, this is like the most moronic kind of, like, it doesn't mean anything. And it's hard. It's actually kind of an interesting story, which I'll say to you in a sentence, which is, because Mexico produces a lot of stuff that they ship to the United States, tomatoes and all sorts of really, like, wonderful food that we eat here, they don't make enough corn for their own people. That's the story. So because for us to get really great tomatoes or semi-great tomatoes year-round, basically Mexicans eat worse. That's the story. And it's kind of an interesting idea, right? Like that's actually sort of like a cool idea, executed in the worst possible way. Okay, so this is like year 8. I'm 27 years old and this is happening. Like I'm not a beginner. Like I'm deep into it. And I guess I'm saying like it takes a while. It's going to take you a while. It's normal to take a while, and you just have to fight your way through that. Okay, you will be fierce. You will be a warrior, and you will make things that aren't as good as you know in your heart you want them to be, and you just make one after another. Like I think that.
All right, so the lesson from this video is definitely not that your project 1 was crappy. It's just that, you know, when I also look back at my code that I did 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, you know, I look at the code, I'm like, really, I did this? I don't know, why would I do this, right? So this is, project 2 is a second take or a second chance. So, you know, you look back and, you know, and it has happened to me too, right? I do a project and then I'm like, hey, if I just get a second chance, you know, I'm going to do this better this time, and I know so much right now, I'm going to do it much better. So this is the second chance you guys have now. You know, you guys did project 1, you kind of have a learning experience, maybe have missed out something, didn't go as the way you expected. But this time going into project 2, you guys have a lot more experience, a lot more technical skills. So, you know, you guys, this is your second chance. Like, hey, I have this idea again, you know, this time I'm going to do this way. So this is what project 2 is about, you know. And with that, the expectations are also higher versus project 1. You guys are more knowledgeable, more experienced now. So we'll go through it and see what are the requirements and how it's going to be not graded, but what is the expectations. But before we begin, the expectations are definitely higher than the project 1. We'll see what that is. So let's get this out of the teams. I've already announced my teams on my Thursday one. I'm pretty sure you guys on the Wednesday one also know what teams you guys will be working on. The presentation due date is going to be Wednesday and Thursday, so 28 and 29, right, November. So you guys have a little over 2 weeks, and this is thanks to all the holidays or whatever the day offs are coming in. All right. Let's see, what are the requirements? Now, guys, we can look at the requirements, but from project 1, I know the TAs were a little bit lenient. They were nicer. You know, they kind of graded you much nicer. Even though I know some of the teams were not able to 100% do this. But this time, you know, please expect that is going to be a little bit more stricter grading. If you are missing, these are must-have requirements. Do you see must? These are must-have requirements. If you are missing 1 or 2 or any of the requirements, please expect that your grade is going to go down. All right. So again, this is first day. You already have the requirements right in front of you. This is how you plan it. Plan it accordingly that you have all of these encompassed in your project. Because towards the end, you're like, well, this didn't work. You know, this is a time. Experiment quickly. Try it out quickly and fail quickly. That's what the motto is. You know, if it doesn't work, abandon. Go to the next one. All right. Now you have until 29, so that's like 2.5 weeks. So you divide your time that, okay, I'm going to try this out for like just 2 days. If it works, fine. If it doesn't, I leave it and go on. All right, or 1 day or whatever. You know, based on your timeline, decide what you're going to do and what's the point that you're going to abandon the approach you're taking. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and see the requirements. Node Express web server. So everything that you have learned from after project 2, including project 1, everything is included. Routes. This time deployment is going to be Heroku, because since we have a more functional, more enriched web page, GitHub doesn't support that, so we won't be able to use GitHub for this one. So that's why Heroku. Same requirement as previous, new library, package, or technology. Please showcase that also. Polished front-end UI folder structure that meets MVC pattern. We saw MVC, and I'll go through this one more time. Not the MVC pattern, but what we have in store for you guys to kind of make it a little bit easier. Quality standards, we are going to look at this today. API keys, if you're using any API keys, there were some activities where you can hide your API keys. Look back to that activity again and make sure that those are hidden and not available. Okay, this would be, our TAs are going to go and select this out so that you guys have somewhere. You guys can copy it down from Slack so that you guys can keep it when you are coming up with your idea. See what you can incorporate. Okay. All right. Any questions on the requirements before we proceed, or is it all clear? Good.
For the new library package technology, is that on Node side or UI side? It doesn't matter.
It does not matter. It does not matter. All right. The question was, does it matter where the new technology reside? Was it a backend, front end, Node, HTML? Doesn't matter. Okay. All right. Let's see. These are nice to haves. All right. Handlebars. I'll show you some code. It's already there, so not too much about that. Authentication. You know, we haven't gone through it, but it would be nice if you guys, if you guys want to look at it, you are looking for some more challenge, you know, look into these authentications. Outside, in the outside world, of course, everybody, you guys should be aware that authentication is a big, not an issue, but authentication is like #1 thing, any project that you start, and every company's security team is very, you know, they are like super anal about it. So authentication is very closely looked on. So it would be a good start if you guys are looking for a challenge. Look into what are the different authentication mechanisms available, how to secure your website more, especially how to secure your routes or your backend more. Okay, front end is still okay. Backend is the one that that's the most target, because your APIs are out in the world and your APIs are returning data, real data from your backend, from your database, right? And that's the position where most of the security attacks happen. They're trying to hack your APIs or, you know, get that data. So API security is very important. So take a look at it. So these are nice to haves. Existing public data set to power your database. If you are going to do that, take a look at the license agreement. Make sure that, you know, it is kind of freely available. Again, not necessary, but good to have. The last one, it says seed and schema.sql file. I know it says nice to have, but I would like you guys follow that. It's a really good pattern. And this assures you that your database, when you go back and take a look at it, or if you want to rebuild your project that already exists, these files, seed and schema SQL, you don't have to keep writing your SQL files. It's already there, just copy, paste, and run it. I know it's again nice to have, but I would recommend that, you know, every team has these two files, which has the database schema saved in your GitHub. All right, it'll be easier 6 months later, 3 months later, maybe you're in an interview, you want to go back and review your project, you just want to run it, prepare for your interview before going so that you can showcase that. These files will help you go back. You won't remember what was the columns and all that stuff. This will be easier. Okay. All right. Any questions on the nice to haves? Again, these are nice to haves, but of course, these things take priority. Once you are done with all of this, then move on to the next ones. Okay. If you're not sure, if you're kind of worried you're not able to going to meet this criteria, then I would dedicate my efforts on this versus going into the nice to haves. Okay, first this, then go on to this ones. All right. All right. Presentation requirement. This is word to word from the previous project. No changes. 10-minute presentation. You're going to start with your presentation, give the concept, what was the design process, the technologies you used, and then most important is you showcase your project. So divide your time accordingly. I like the demos, and that kind of impresses more people. So I would try to dedicate more of your 10 minutes in presenting what you have done, like going through your application basically. All right. Again, up to you. You could do like a 6 4 minute or a 7 3 minute, 7 minutes on your application, running through it, demoing that application, and then 3 minutes on the rest of the stuff. Or you could do 6 4. Up to you guys. All right. Okay. Any questions on the presentations? Okay. So you guys have gone through the first one, so I figured it might be easier. You guys kind of already know the process and how you were graded. Okay.
Is there a PowerPoint involved with this one?
What was that?
Is there a PowerPoint involved with this one?
Yeah, you can create a PowerPoint with your technology and this tag. That's what I was saying. You can divide it. I mean, it doesn't say, but yeah, if you want a PowerPoint, do it. But make sure you guys have a demo at the end, definitely. So your PowerPoint can consist of your team name, your design process, what are the technologies, just list the names of the technologies and do it. If you don't want PowerPoint also, you just want to talk about it, that's also fine. It's totally up to you guys, whatever you guys feel more comfortable. All right. All right, any other questions? Formal presentation, same dress code as last time. So no changes over there. All right, these are the things that you guys will be graded on, and it's kind of similar to last time also. And again, the grading criteria is very dependent on the must-haves. So any must-have that you miss out, please expect that your grade is going to go down. With that, okay, it's going to be more stricter grading as we are moving towards because the expectation is you guys are more mature now. You guys have a much better understanding how the presentation goes, how your project goes, how the technology goes. All right, so that's why there's a higher bar this time. Okay, concept, design, functionality, collaboration, presentation. Okay, all of these 5 are going to comprise for your project 2 grade. Okay. All right. See, any questions before we proceed on to the next exercises that start our project? Okay. So the exercises are based on project teams. So it'd be this would be a good time. You guys already know your project teams. Let's get together as a team because these activities only one person would be doing. And then he'll be or she will be sharing it across the team. So let's go ahead, move around and sit with your team. If you want, I can put the team names here again. Let's see.
No, she had surgery last week.
You want to sit here? Someone can sit there. So, already create the report and I need the basic structure. So, I'm using the code to make the changes in the browser. So basically,
Okay.
use code before. So it's like scanners. Different tasks and CSS and size. So browser doesn't compile versions by using code and the SAS to CSS.
All right. So same as last time. Our first activity of the project 2 would be to set up our GitHub repository and then giving all the team member access. All right, let's go ahead and do that. This is going to be done by one person, team lead. Select a team lead who's going to be leading, and then he or she should be completing this activity. All right?
So, but if you say something that should be make mistake, it's gonna count the same. So basically, for example, like those packages what we can add, like MySQL tools and device so right now I just created config I didn't do that. So you guys can I just did public right now we're working I'm writing that site in the and I created fields, so it's got a name. In the middle, I make a header and footer, so always gonna be footer. So partial is the header, here the header, and the footer here. So every time when you open different sites, it's gonna always have the same header. And so on the side, right now I do.
Yes.
Let you know, I'm gonna have to go after lunch for a work event in Tucson, so I'll be just like my last hour of class, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Just your team members know and they'll figure it out. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. We don't have. We'll probably finish it earlier. And so you guys will have to submit a proposal and then we'll do that.
Okay, yeah, and we actually kind of have ideas
Okay.
already.
Perfect.
It's gonna display cards with a picture and then the product price and the button purchase price. So if you purchase the card, here the card is gonna be 1, 2, 3. It's gonna show that. Because I don't do it like yes. And so right now I make that all those it's one word I just copied those cards, but actually those cards are gonna be taken from like database using the loop. It's gonna be, you know, if you got this category of 9 products, it's gonna loop. So here, I just make that copy, the same one, but it's gonna be just, we're gonna create the loop like we did before. Yeah, so you're gonna use that, so you're gonna actually like request get, and then request get, then use that. It's gonna be used to use that. We did it. Yeah. And so you can click this homepage, so you're gonna have access to categories here or here. It's gonna so we're gonna have to do that if you click this category, it's gonna have to read that category like that. But still it's gonna show on the same page. So like if I open this category, this, it's gonna open the same shop, but it's gonna read the shop, so it's display different categories. So it's gonna be one, but we did it before as well, it's not an exercise. The base or what you, it's gonna show, it's account, if you click sign up, it's gonna take you to sign up page. If you click sign in, it's gonna take you to sign in page. And the card is gonna take you to the card. We can use search, we can, I can use that. We can do later. like for now, but that's gonna work. And I see, I thought that we can make as well a contact. It's gonna be for of us. It's just like it's gonna be 4 of us, and we just email, GitHub, there is kind of structure, everything gonna be done. It's just gonna be kind of the contact, right? Christmas and for Christmas decoration. So it's gonna be one. Yeah, something like lights and this kind of maybe some graphics. So one category can have let's make yeah, I'm gonna look and try to get the same, because I want to have the same type of the same one, like category. So it's not like one is so everything's like on the white background with the same color of so we'll have yeah, we can. I can make that. I can make that API.
Alright, looks like almost everybody is done. So we'll take a couple of more minutes and we'll jump onto the next exercise.
Database can just store the path. And the path, it's gonna grab the image and put it. It's kind of similar to this one, it just makes a lot of images. Everything is one folder. And API, I just use the path to the yeah. Could you get that? Could you? He's not Thanks.
All right. Any team who's remaining? Is everybody good? GitHub set up. Can proceed to the next one. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the next one. So the next exercise, next topic is linters. Anybody know what a JavaScript linter is? Yeah. Yep. Adam is saying some kind of a tool that finds bugs in JavaScript. Well, not in JavaScript, the code that you write in JavaScript. JavaScript is perfect. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that's exactly what it is. So linter, the concept of linter is that it analyzes your code and does a code review for you. All right. Of course, it's not 100%, but it does a code review. So what it does is it looks for potential errors that you might have in your code, potential standards that you are not following in your code. All right, that's the job of a linter. And then it gives you an error. It points you out that this line is wrong or this line does not comply to this standard. Linter is the concept is in every language, and it is extremely widely used, right? In the industry, you cannot push any code that does not pass your linter. Okay, we'll see what two different linters are available for JavaScript, but that's the main concept. So every time you build, you check in your code. There's a software called for linter that runs on your code and will analyze your code. And if it doesn't passes some threshold, it's going to give you an error and your build actually fails, right? And it says, hey, you haven't met the criteria, you are below 80% threshold, or you have like so many errors, it's not going to pass, you cannot move your code to production, right? They have checks on almost every project, and every company has that, all right? So for JavaScript, the most popular and the most widely used linter is called ESLint. You can Google this, ESLint. This is by far the most popular linting tool that I have seen, and almost everywhere I have worked. Anybody who's writing their code in JavaScript use ESLint, right? Now by JavaScript, I mean as even AngularJS kind of comes in JavaScript. Your React is also kind of JavaScript. So they all have some kind of linters built in, all right? So ESLint is a good tool, and that's what we're going to look at today. So in your project 2, you guys will be adding this linter, and then we'll see how the standards are and how you can enforce that everybody on your team follows the same standard across. Okay? No question? No. All right. So that's what a linter is. Okay, checks your code, gives you potential errors. I'll show you how it automatically fixes some of them, but it doesn't fix all of them. But it's kind of smart enough to fix some of them for you. Okay. Some of the standards could be, camel casing. Your variables should be camel cased. Your strings should be starting with double quotes instead of single quote. That's also kind of standard. You can differentiate that. You should be using 3 equals to instead of double equal. That's also one of the standards. So all of these are kind of built in. But again, these are modifiable. You can change those also. All right. Some of the linter, we'll see what are the standards. Those are kind of standards from Facebook, Uber, and Google, and some of the companies that they use, and they have kind of shared those standards across. A lot of companies kind of just use the same ones. So I'll show you the standard ones and how to modify them also. All right. There's a standard for indentation also, that how many spaces should be there when your new line begins. That's also included in this. So ESLint will check all of those. All right. We'll see how it checks it and how you will see those errors. All right. Before going to ESLint, we will act as a ESLint ourselves. All right. So what we will do is we'll go through the code and then try to eyeball and then try to see what are the issues that we see. Go through the code and see what are the potential issues that you see. Now in this code, there's no compilation in JavaScript, so there's no errors that will prevent the code to run. Okay, the code will run perfectly in this example, but it just doesn't pass the standards. Oops. Okay, so this code, take a look at with your team and see what are the potential errors or issues in this code. But there's no error that this will not run. The code will run, but what are the potential issues that you see that kind of doesn't follow the standards? All right, take a few minutes, discuss, try to find out as much as you can, and then we'll go through them, and then I'll show you how the ESLint kind of figures this out. Let's see what are the issues. It says, look at this example. This is what it does. What's wrong with it? Okay. So you're trying to see what are the kind of standards that it's breaking, what are things that it's not following.
Either double or simple. Maybe that still works, but it's ugly. Oh yeah, there are. So spaces before operation. Well, I mean, did you run it? I mean, it runs, it works. Yeah, the code works. It's just, I think they told you to be consistent. Right? So, like, the difference between indentations. See how much it moves when I format it. So the indentations.
Right now we are human ES linkers. Right now we are looking at this one. You will see the same.
Spacing.
All right, let's go through this really quickly and see what are the potential errors that we can see. Again, this code will run perfectly. It won't give you any error, and it will do the operation that you are expecting. It will work, but doesn't mean that it follows the standards. All right, let's start with line number 1. Do you guys see any issues with line number 1?
Yeah, there's inconsistency in the quoting in the whole file.
Okay, Dylan?
There's no semicolon.
There's no semicolon. Excellent. There's no double quotes. There's no semicolon. Excellent. Anything else?
2 spaces.
There is an extra space and maybe underscore.
Okay, good. Extra spaces. Oh, extra space in the underscore? Like this one?
I'm not sure about the underscore yet.
Okay. And where was the extra space you were saying?
Probably the same one she was just.
Oh, okay.
Right
Okay.
before parsing it.
Before parsing, yeah. There's a space over here, extra space. This code is just, I was talking to one team, this code is like a nightmare for OCD people. I look at it, I'm like, yeah. All right, extra spaces. What about the variable names? What do you guys think about the names? The naming standard that is over here, num_1. It's not camel case. Excellent. So one of the standard that ESLint will check is that this is camel case. Okay. One of the team was saying it's not descriptive. The name should be more descriptive. That's also an excellent point. But ESLint won't pick that up. What it will pick it up is that it's not camel cased. All right. So no underscores. Either do this or do this. Oops. One of these. Yes. What was that?
You answered it. I was just wondering how you do camel case without a second one.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Line number 2 and 3 kind of similar. Again, over here, single quotes. The next line, double quotes. I would say stick to double quotes and strings. ESLint will pick it up, but again, there's a rule to modify it if you guys are more comfortable using a single quote. But make sure throughout the project, everybody is using the single quote then, right? I don't mind about that, but stick to one standard. ESLint by default, it will give this an error if it's not a double quote. Okay. Right. Let's see. Line number 5, some spaces, or this might be okay, I think. Yeah, this is okay. Double quotes, same issue. What about line number 7? Just line 7. The curly brackets are supposed to be on the new line. Okay, that's I'm not sure if ESLint by default picks it, but you can modify it and make sure that this comes in the next line.
The real problem is it's using a arbitrary equals instead of exact equals. You use 3 equal signs instead of 2.
Okay. 3 equal to. Okay. Yeah, that's the more one that will ESLint will pick up 3 equal to instead of double equal to. All right. Let's see, similar over here, more spaces. Okay. You see this indentation over here, line number 8 and 9. You can make ESLint fix this also. Yes.
Would ESLint like throw back that you don't really even need to uppercase this? Can't you just like do? Well, I guess it wants a standard, so it doesn't break it.
Which line are line number 5?
Back it up to like line number 5. Maybe it doesn't. But
well, this is the ESLint might not have an issue with this because this is something intentionally you're trying to do. You are saying that whatever is over here, just make it uppercase.
Yeah. Okay.
So this might still be the part of your functionality. So I don't think ESLint might have a problem with this. We'll run it and see. Okay. So next few lines, other than the indentation, spaces, triple equal, double quotes, anything else that is that I'm missing? Other than what we have seen in the previous ones. Else if, else if.
Oh, there's the 2 else ifs are in the wrong place. The else if and else are in the wrong places on line 18 and 21. They should be on new lines typically.
Okay, yeah, that's what she was saying. Yeah, spaces and those issues. What is that?
It should be a switch case.
Yeah, you can switch it to make it a switch case, but we'll see. I'm not sure if ESLint will pick that up or not. We'll see. It might. We'll see what the standard is. Okay, but you can definitely fix it with switch case. All right. So let's go ahead and see how we can install this. The next exercise, we're going to install ESLint, and then we'll run ESLint on our code. All right. Okay, so go ahead and follow this also, and I will do it over here. And just to give you an overview, once everything is successful, and then you open the example.js file, you will see these squiggly red marks. If you hover over it, it's going to exactly tell you what the standard ESLint is failing. All right. The other part that the instructions don't include is do this npm I -g ESLint. -g again is for the global. This will let you run ESLint on your command prompt. All right. There are some instructions that they say. I was not able to successfully run those. I think it might be the version number, that's why. But once you make sure you install this also, and then with this I will show you how you can run those separately. Okay. So npm I -g ESLint. This is in addition to whatever the instructions are over here. So I'll have to download a Visual Studio ESLint extension. I did this. So if you just search, this is the first one by Dirk. You can search for ESLint. Is the first one that comes. Okay. So go ahead and install that instruction, and this is the extension that will help you see um, the linter. It will help run the linter on your JS files. Okay, and it's the same instructions that are over here also. You can follow this npm install -g ESLint in the documentation for the ESLint plugin for Visual Studio. They have the same thing. And once that is done, we'll go ahead and run a linter, and then we'll see what these files. Don't worry about these files right now. I'll go through them. We'll see what each one of them means. So install the extension, then do a npm install that will install all the dependencies, and then do a npm -g ESLint. -g ESLint. If everything is successful, this is how your screen should look like. Let's take a few minutes so that everybody is able to get here. Yes.
This is all assuming VS Code.
What do you mean VS Code?
An extension specifically for VS Code.
Yes, this extension is specific to VS Code, but you can run the ESLint without the extension also. This extension is so that you can visually see, and I will show you how to run it from the terminal also later on. In the end, your code is going to run against a linter every time you check into your GitHub. We'll see how that is, okay? But this extension is because we are using Visual Studio Code so that we can visually see it, what's going on. Before we push our code, we can kind of quickly fix it and then do it.
Here's the workspace folder. Usually those are yes. You're saying that so if you reinstall that where is the folder?
So now it just means that it has to be installed. It already has the package.json already has the ESLint. So if I look at this one, package.json, it already has this lint. In the unsolved, in the package.json, so when you do a npm install, it should install a ESLint. Okay, and then do the npm -g ESLint also so that we can run this later. All right. Is every team able to look at the squiggly parts of example.js? Good, good, good. Good. Guys, good? All right. So let's take a look at this now. So if you see these, so in your code also, when you have the linter, this is how it will look every time you write your code and there's any error. So there are a couple of ways. I mean, if you hover over it, it will exactly tell you what the error is. All right, string must use double quote. So that's the error. This one says is not camel case. All right. This is same as double quote. So ESLint will kind of make sure that you guys follow the standards. Okay. Now here's how to. Well, the manual way to fix it that you will go and fix all those based on the comments. You will go ahead and fix this, make it camel casing, and this error should go away. If I do this, oops, so giving me error. Oh, okay. So now it gives me a different error. Okay. So you see, let me go back here. So right now, if I hover over, it says it's not camel case. All right, so I need to fix that. So I go ahead and fix it by making it camel case. Let's suppose I make it like this, and then it gives me another error that is assign a value but never used. Okay, and the reason is because I changed the name, so it's probably being used somewhere else, and it doesn't know where. Okay, so you can fix that. This one is easier to fix. So this one says double quotes, follow the standards, make it double quotes, and this error should go away. All right. The next one is missing a semicolon, so go ahead and fix that, and this should fix it. Okay. All right. So the other way is you can run this linter on your code, and that's how. This is just because you have a Visual Studio extension. That's why you see these red squiggly. But when you deploy your code on GitHub and push it, it doesn't have these squiggly marks, right? So it should be running something else. So what happens is we'll see how to set that up. One of the other ways is if you install ESLint correctly in your global. Let's see if -v works. Okay. So if I do ESLint -v, you guys should try this. It will give you a version number. This tells me that my installation is good. npm -g ESLint. I did this. I should have this installed. Okay. So the next thing is you can run this manually. You can say ESLint. Sorry. npm. Oops. npm run ESLint example.js. Oh. I don't need the ES part. All right. So the other way is if you run npm npm run lint, then you can leave it at this or put the file name. So over here I gave the file name example.js. You will see the output. It will give you the line numbers, and it will give you exactly where the errors are. Okay. This is another way you can run this. Since we installed it globally, this ESLint is available everywhere. Okay. For the fixing, we saw you can fix it manually. Lint also, ESLint also gives an option to fix it. I believe it's npm run lint --fix. Okay, we'll give it a try. So right now I have 42 problems, and then you see over here it already says that 22 of them is something that I can fix it. Like ESLint can go ahead and fix 22 of them for me, right? So if you run npm run, let me see if I can do this. Okay, so some of this is my error file. If I run fix, 22 of them should be fixed, or around 20. Okay. Let's see. Did it fix some of them? Prompt give. Oh. npm run. Is it ESLint or? Oh, you know what? I think it's. Oh, I know what the issue is. Since I installed ESLint, it's going to be ESLint. Run. Let's see. Init print cache. We are trying to find the fixed one. Okay, minus fix. So es minus fix. That should do it. Okay. So es length minus fix. Oh, it's npm ESLint? Oh, that's what I'm missing. And then minus fix. Okay, there we go. So you see it fixed 20 of them, and take a look at it fixed the double quotes. Seemed like that was easier. Why was the reason it didn't fix the camel casing one? Exactly. It's if this is kind of, so you can see the pattern. It didn't change it because it will change your program. It will change the, not the functionality, but the running of your program. So ESLint, if it changes it, it might break your program. So ESLint won't fix any issues that it thinks will break your program. Okay? The double equal to? Right. So it doesn't know what you're trying to do. Double equal to is a valid statement, and in some use cases you do need double equal to. But there are rare cases, so ESLint won't fix it. Anything that will break your functionality, ESLint won't fix it. But the double quotes one is kind of easier, so it fixes it. Yes. You can use what? Constant. Okay. That might be added. We'll see what are the rules. That's interesting.
Why would it be that mine's only saying that I have one problem and it's not really like this one? They did
Is this what you did? I can't see it. ESLint.
I did ESLint
Example.
space example.
Yeah.
Space dash space. I actually went on 2 minutes.
Still doesn't work?
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, what?
Let's make sure that the program is correct.
Yeah, you can have it like just a short because here we have to go to the file and it's not short.
Can you revert back to the original unsolved one and run on that and see? Go back to the original one without the one that you changed. Don't change it and then go back. We'll see. It might be that during the change of the thing something changed. Maybe you can run the program and see if it's still working. Okay. Let's see. One more thing. All right. So now where are these rules coming from? All right. ESLint is obviously reading those rules from somewhere. And then if you see a file dot .eslint.rc.json file, that's where all your rules are defined. Let me open this file here and then open this file. Okay, so if you see this is the rules are defined in a JSON format, right? And these are all the rules that are defined over here that kind of runs when your code runs or when you run on your code. So let's say let's see which one. No mixed spaces or tabs. Kind of tells you what you can do. You can put this as an error or a warning or turn this rule off. Okay. That was what? No trailing spaces is an error right now. Let's see this quotes one. All right. So this is the one that is giving you an error. So right now it has this rule that all the quotes that you use should be double and not single. So let's see what happens if I change. So right now it gives me an error, right? Oh, I fixed it. Okay. Let me go back and change this to single quote. Okay. So right now I have an error that this must be double quote. So let me go ahead and change this and again, I don't know what these correspond to, but I can read. I say, okay, this is an error. And in the previous one, if I hover over it, it says I have options off, warn, and error. So either I can turn it off. If I do off, it should stop looking for this error. So let me go back. And you see this went away. No more errors. It's not looking for that particular rule anymore. Okay. Let's see what happens if I do a warn. Okay, it gives like a green line saying it's a warning. Okay. Let me fix it to error and then how about change this to single? See if that. I'm missing an R. Yes, thank you. So now all my single quotes are valid, all my double quotes are invalid now. Okay, because I said, hey, no, I want to follow. I don't care what the industry is doing. I want to follow a single quote example. I'm going to do this. All right. So I use single quotes, so now my double quotes are invalid. Again, this is one of the examples that I was saying that you guys decide. Usually it's double quote, but for some reason you guys are more comfortable with single quote. Change your ESLint file and make sure that your whole team uses the same convention. All right.
How does the industry feel about little ticks?
Little ticks. Like this one?
This guy.
So where would you use that?
Yeah.
String what?
Yeah.
Yeah, give it a try and see. I don't know what the rule of over here is. But those are for concatenation, right? Yeah, those are fine. Yeah, those are actually much more obvious using a plus sign. Yeah, those are acceptable. Yeah, I would prefer using those versus the plus sign. The plus ones have more memory issues and all that, but yeah, those things are fine. Okay. So there, then there's this one is also interesting. The indentation. That's why it's giving you an error. So over here, that every line that begins should be 2 spaces. So that's why there's no error over here. So let's say I change it to 5. So now your beginning of each line should be indented to 5. So that's why you see it starts giving an error. All right. Again, depends on your preference for indentation. But this file that is in your project is kind of downloaded from internet. And if you look at the ESLint documentation, this is this has come to us through different companies. What are their standards? Again, these are changeable depending on your use case, depending on your style. You can change those. Let's see what else. So these are all the rules that are defined. You can add, I don't know what else you can add over here. Look at the documentation. If there's a rule that you like, you want to make sure that your team follows, you can add the new rule over here. Make sure the keywords are there, whatever the documentation says. I'm pretty sure there might be more, or these might be the ones that are covered. Okay. All right. Any questions? Okay, so now we know how to use the linter. We know where the linter rules reside and how to fix it. All right. So take a few minutes, go through the this JSON file. Switch around some stuff. Make sure you guys understand the whole team. Yes, understands it. Yeah. Says what? Google. What do you mean? Yours says Google.
It's a module export from Google. Now you can't edit anything.
It literally just says Google.
What? But I just modified it.
It says module.exports. Extends.
When you did our imports, it asks you if you want to create one just by using Google, using standard, using if you select Google, this file just says Google.
Oh, so so you can modify the Google ones.
Yeah.
Interesting. But here's what I would do in your project. What you can do is you can create this file on your own. Okay, just have this extension, copy paste this, and then modify your rules. And the only thing is in your, yeah, they should be fine. Yeah, you can create your own. Just use the exact same extension and file name, and this should work. Yeah, because I'm able to modify this, so it should be fine. But yeah, if you download it, as you guys are saying, you import it from a standard that's out there, then I'm sure they don't want you modifying their standards. Either use it or don't use it, I guess. So, what doesn't work? This one doesn't work?
Yeah.
ESLint file, what does it say?
You can't find the module.
Oh, the Google, okay. I don't know what you guys are talking about Google. How did you, I'm not curious, how did you get it? What did you guys do?
So, instead of getting all of these, it sends Google.
Good times.
Right, so how did you get it?
So we do, yes.
Oh,
It goes through the wow. You can use Google standards.
all right. So, from the documentation, the only thing I said was the installation. That's all I was saying. Yeah, if you go through init and all that stuff, then that's what it is. But you don't have to do it because we already have this file in our project. You can just use this file. But I see what you're doing. Yeah.
When you run it up on the board, it's npm-g on the documentation you had on your screen. It said npm-i.
Yeah. Right.
I installed it with the I. I don't know if anyone else installed it without that I. Maybe that's why.
No, I did it with I too. It's fine. It should work. So what these guys did was they did a npm. There's a init file. This option over here, init, this thing, and if you do this, it asks you, what. So init will actually create a ESLint file from scratch. So it's kind of asking you, do you want to use the Google one? Do you want to use this one? If you say Google, it kind of downloads the Google one and says you cannot modify. You have to use it. Yeah, or you can use our custom one that is in the example, just copy paste it. That's what happened. Okay, so take a look at a few minutes and then we'll go on to the last exercise, and then we'll move on to the project stuff. Yes.
So here I installed this. I did it globally. Every time I try it,
said it was fine. So you need to use the so do a pseudo and
Okay with this one.
Even though here, but it
Yeah. It's a thing.
somehow you don't. So now
I just had this very
yeah, the same one. Yeah, yes, this one is what's the latest when I sit down, but I would say that size, sometimes I should be like a choice. Yeah, I know what you mean. So yeah, I'm gonna use yeah, Christmas tree, and now it's going and if I don't still have well, without using I think it's a minus. Oh yeah.
All right. So the next one. So for project 2, there's a what we call a boilerplate or a starter code, and that is given to you guys if you guys want to use it. The TS will slag this out, but what this does is, this is what you will find when you do some projects. Let's suppose you do React. When you want to create a React project, they have what they call a boilerplate code. It's a template, kind of creates a lot of stuff for you. So this is similar for project 2. This is given to you guys. What this project has, if you open this project and see, it has all the config, models, public, routes, test, views, kind of dummy code that is already created that you can get a head start on your project. So a lot of this is, I won't say a lot of stuff, but the boilerplate code is already done for you guys. You can download this. I think the TS selected it, download it, run it. If I would recommend using it. A lot of stuff is already kind of built in. You already have your linting part done. Your models folder config is there. You just have to update your databases most probably. Your routes are kind of divided. HTML API routes. Of course, you guys are going to change this code. It won't be example anymore. But this is just an example. It might have all the placeholders. Your public folder has, your views already has like handlebars, kind of basic ones installed. So this is a starter project that you guys have available if you guys want to use it. Because if you see, all of these things are kind of must-haves in your project already. You guys have to do this. So I would recommend, if you guys are interested, go ahead, take a look at it. You can download this, commit it to your project, so that the basic structure is already there. Okay.
What's Travis.yml?
Right. Good question. We'll look at Travis.yml after you guys are going through. That's a good question. So I already have this. We'll see what Travis is. All right. So again, take a few minutes, take a look at it. Interested, go ahead and put it in your GitHub repo. Do the initial commit, push everything up, and then the last topic we'll look at what is Travis CI. All right. Once you have this uploaded to your GitHub, again, take a look at the project and see what you guys need to change when you guys are doing your project. What are the files that you need to take a look at? For example, of course, in my config file, we'll have to update the database. In our routes, it says right now example, so we'll have to change that, this kind of stuff. Just make sure that you guys kind of understand, if you guys are using this template, kind of understand that how to use this and what are the changes that you guys need to do.
It'll show up right there. I guess that's just what it looks like when there's nothing in it. This is weird. Server JS. Yeah. It's not everything. Everything.
You don't have any trouble starting try this, and then after it's like, that's what I'm gonna do too. No, we're gonna bring you 15 computers. His idea of the two people is just bring a computer. And after talking about so change. It's painful. It's painful. Doesn't matter.
All right, let's take a look at what Travis CI is. All right, so CI stands for continuous integration. All right, let's see if I can. So we have a lot of tools for continuous integration and continuous deployment. Travis CI is kind of nice. It comes with GitHub Marketplace. They have a free version. The instructions will be there how to install it. But what this will do is this will implement a linter in your master branch. So every time somebody pushes your code to master branch, it will automatically run the linter and then give you errors if there are any issues, and it won't let you merge that branch or merge your code into your master. And remember, I was saying initially that there are some rules and the companies are strict at the code that goes into your production or your master branch. One of the tools is Travis CI. There are a lot more. We use something called Jenkins. There are a few more. But Travis CI serves the same purpose. When you push your code, when you're ready, you did your changes in your branch, and now you want to merge it to master so that everybody can see it. When you merge it, you create a PR request, like a peer review request. When you create a PR request for merge, that's when Travis CI kicks in and it checks your code and gives you an output saying these are the errors or there are no errors, everything is good. Your reviewer can go ahead and merge it. All right. So again, it will check according to the standards, according to those rules, and it will say, okay, these are the basic standards that have been covered. The linter will take care of it. It is ready to be merged. but it does not mean that your functionality is right or there's no code issues or you haven't written the logic wrong. Okay, that's where your human peer review comes in. Okay, linter is only going to check against those specified syntax standards. It's going to say everything is good. It can be merged, but again, do your peer reviews, take a look at what the code is, the logic is right, everything is good, then go ahead and merge it. All right, again, Travis CI is going to go through the rules. That's what it's going to check, those 50 rules or something. All right, it doesn't know, it's not smart enough to see if your logic is correct or not. All right, so this is what Travis CI is for. It's going to reside in your GitHub. Every time you check in, you push your code, it's going to run across your code and give you a report. All right, so to see in this section, let's do the next exercise. A couple of things before you begin. When you go to this URL that will be in your Slack, it will give you an option to select. Unless you want to pay, you can select the open source $0 one. Select this option and then go ahead and install it for free. I already have this built in. Once you have installed, it's going to take you to your, let's see, does it take me to my project? So what will happen is it will take you to your project and then it will ask you which repositories you want Travis to run on. Okay, since you already have your project project directory built in, you can go ahead and select your project repository. It will show up over here. Select that all if you want all. I wouldn't recommend all because you might have different projects or different languages over there, so it wouldn't make sense that you kind of keep checking on those. So select your project and then this will complete the setup. All right, the next is the instructions. Go ahead and see how this works. You will have to make a pull request, do a PR review, and then merge that code. Let's see what the README over here has. Okay, so you do the master branch. This is the link that I was saying. Set it up, select the open source one, install, and this will complete. And then go ahead and create a branch. You want to play around, do a commit, push it, and see what happens, how Travis works. Okay, again, just to show you guys how Travis is also working, it's based off this YAML file or YAML. We call it YAML. It's kind of like the JSON file, but not exactly. So YAML files are also kind of similar across different languages. Definitely, I know Java has YAML file also. So they are it's kind of merged between an XML and kind of JSON format. But this is how you do it. And this is what, when Travis runs, it looks for this file. If you do not have this file, it's going to fail. It's not going to run. So the software goes in, looks at the file and see what we have defined, and then it will run. So it is looking for your branches. That's the most important. The master branch is always going to run on your master branch. And before the install, this is interesting. It says MySQL -e create database. It looks like it's going to make sure that the database is also installed. Give it a try and see. I haven't run Travis on any of my projects. We use a different one. But see what happens when you run this on your initial code. Yes? Yeah, it's called Jenkins. Yeah, it's kind of depending on the industry. While most of the companies have a paid version and a more sophisticated environment. So we use something called OpenShift, Jenkins, and there are a few more CI/CD tools. But they kind of do the similar thing. Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and do the, yes, Dylan. No, that was, what's your question? You have a problem? Okay, we'll see your problem next. So try installing, if you are using that project starter code, go ahead, push it to your repository, create a PR request, set up the Travis CI. Again, Travis CI is required for your project. Okay, even if you're not using the project starter, make sure you have this Travis YML file, because otherwise it's not going to run. This is what it is looking for. Give it a try, see what's the report, make some deliberate issues, and try to see how it picks it up. What are the issues? All right. So we'll continue this until 11:45. Then we'll take a lunch break. After that is all project work. You guys are going to go spread out as a team or sit over here. It's up to you. By the end of the class, we just need your proposal and what you guys are going to be working on. Okay? So from 11:45, you can come back at 12:30 or 12:45. It's okay, but you know, the earlier you come, I want you guys to spend your time as a team, whatever you guys are comfortable with. That's your time. You guys have to spend that time and come up with a proposal. So 12:30, 12:45, it's okay. All right?
Even in photos, you should have you don't get that. Yeah, I can't push now the clock. Yeah, it's something.
Right.
I just added the Travis and I want it
It's the first time I've ever seen that whole shit. The key in there. It's a little world.
Again, I don't know if this was solved. This is what was recently
I added the Travis
to do this, start from the beginning. So you already have mastered the branch. Then go into that branch and
Yeah.
How can I remove that project to Travis? Yeah, I added my project. Okay. But I'm not going to remove it. Okay. So I went to the settings.
Yeah, we use a lot of like weird code stuff. When I watched this tutorial, and then when I went into the Android Studio to like make new app or whatever,
Oh, it's not there.
go down into the file system a little bit, and then
No,
you paste all your code.
I added it to Travis my project.
Okay.
Yeah. I was removing it.
Besides all the crap.
So like this is
I didn't even after I was like,
now you can actually have a see. I didn't.
you don't remember. Well, this is just showing that you haven't done
Now because I had this report to Travis, I can't make it.
So it actually wants us to do that, right? Just switch out.
So I think it's just this file.
Again, I agree.
The problem is,
Setting there's a object where you can see all your apps that you have given access to GitHub. Let's see. Okay, and okay, let's see.
I didn't even know that.
So Adam, go to your event calendar, and then it shows me these text for pages, and then press this switch around. I think it will. You don't see this screen with your repositories? So if I switch around, this should take my projects off. Travis /account/repositories.
Oh, that's what you were basically, not bug, just add a bunch of stack
That was so weird.
a lot of responses to like not all time Slack. That was apparently she has to go plus button somewhere.
Yeah, that's so so like from here, let's like I'm curious. I'm the dashboard project here.
Oh, there. How do you know it's going good?
I just in the project I added that I deleted it. I added that Travis this file and I tried to push that.
What's the
error.
Are you pushing the master?
Oh,
Yes.
right.
Do you have it restricted? You won't be able to push the master.
I completed the ones. I got the same.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, you see, your master is declining because you don't have permission. So if you completed the first exercise, that's what we did. You shouldn't be able to push the master directly.
Oh, okay.
So that's the issue.
That's it.
Yeah. So nobody, either you uncheck that and push it, or what you can do is create a branch and that's what. Yes.
No trouble.
That's how you would have it installed. It's expecting to be the
Well, I just tried to change the master because I tried committing 20 new changes.
So,
well, you did it with
So now I have to make the ground.
Right, so I think that's the right, yeah.
Can you see that report? Yeah, I remember that. I just go to the settings, update everything, make the push, keep it right.
so we do have that.
Yeah.
Alright, the thing is that I have to add the branch and then push the master. Travis was the I read that I can't use I have to create the branch, go to the branch and choose the branch of the
We can, I mean,
take it off and make a finish and then I put this back in the settings.
So there was
One person can take
back in the day when this used to be the crazy letters.
so to create the
Now all these, look on every image that doesn't have a car in it.
Yeah, so you just as you like that. So of course, you can just the categories don't show different.
First was like big row of hoods to screw this up. Still different than your town.
you can send out pictures.
It's kind of like to the customer, it's like a widget, like WordPress almost.
Fibers sucks.
They have all these customers calling them. It captures one word.
Another person can do that.
Turn it on anyway, but they could just put it away. So there's never been a positive like customer experience. Like really love these captures. So they can't really
So they give you
I hate that.
But
I don't
this
want
has
someone
to
to tell me
be
I'm
done
wrong.
before dogs. This we have to get.
I haven't, and I've ignored rules for the last year. It's like so hard to ignore. I don't want to do that.
If you click on something, grab that information.
I personally, I've never used this thing before. I think like more trouble than it's worth. Anytime you spend 5 minutes on something and it's and all it's doing is trying to make color things easier, pretty awesome. 5 minutes of coding frustration. Yeah. These are supposed to make it so that they don't make mistakes. And it's right. I have had interview questions about I would like to see more documentation from somewhere on the internet. I know it's probably wrong, but just let me try to track this.
That's why you
no images because it's gonna just pass without. We're gonna just write a message and just send it off. And say that, well, yeah, we have to figure out what's together.
There's no lessons, so it's probably all lunchable. You'd rather just rock it out.
So I think for
That's kind of the same thing.
I removed passport. I'm just the passport. And so I think this is this one file. You go and get this one. This is here there.
Are you trying to get them on a map? Yeah, so you just basically submit that whole list.
Like right there. That pops in my hand like once a week. I rarely let it out. He's got a small roll of it. Just like we
Exactly where our last project was there.
Is that air pocket so yeah, like I'm tempting to commit.
No, I can't even. Well, I started on the make sure
So just overall, I love
it's literally just throwing this. That's all it is. And I've tried to replace this with anything since the last one. We're talking about, and it's just time to yes.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
There's an example of that. I work for
Yes.
So basically,